Government is not budging on the requirement for the wearing of masks as it pertains to more than one person in a vehicle. Attorney General Faris Al Rawi maintains that police officers will be unable to differentiate whether the occupants of a vehicle are family members or a PH taxi with passengers. He addressed the subject at today's Ministry of Health press conference. Sunil Lala files this report.
There have been differing opinions since government announced on Saturday that the wearing of masks will be mandatory once there are two or more people in a vehicle. The fine for the first offence of not wearing a mask in a public place or even a vehicle is $1,000. Attorney General Faris Al Rawi explained that government's decision to ensure masks are worn in a vehicle with other occupants are mainly due to TNT's thriving PH taxi industry.
We're therefore compelled to recognize that it would be near impossible for law enforcement to stop every private car to figure out whether you are related to the person or living in the same household. So please understand that this is a feature of Trinidad and Tobago's recognized society, and that therefore the only exception for being in a vehicle or a vessel is if you are by yourself.
The Attorney General also issued a warning to those wearing their masks as a chin guard without covering the mouth and nose and said this will not be acceptable. Mr. Al Rawi, though, urged anyone with medical conditions to walk with their medical certificates to show why they are unable to do so. He listed some exceptions where people can temporarily remove the mask or be exempted.
There is an exception for reasonable cause or excuse. That exception is for medical or physical reasons, certain urgent situations such as escaping danger, momentarily moving for the purposes of eating or consuming drink, for taking medication.
But ultimately, the AG said this will be up to the police to decide if there is a need to charge a person for not wearing a mask.
That it's up to the law enforcement officers to stop you. They would have reasonable suspicion because you're not wearing your mask, ask you questions, and then decide whether the law is going to be applied to you or not.
Mr. Al Rawi added that children under 8 years of age will be exempted from wearing a mask in public, but is encouraging the practice. He noted, though, that the person with responsibility for a child over 8 years of age could be charged if the child is found not to be wearing a mask in a public space.
Whether the child is in public or whether the child is in a vehicle or a vessel, that child wears a face mask, and that the person with responsibility who has that child with him or her, that person will be held liable for the breach of the law.
The Attorney General adds that if a child is without a parent or guardian in public and is not wearing a mask, the child could face the penalty. Sunil Lala, TTT News.